A few weeks ago I reviewed the Doctor Who spin-off K9 and Company. It did not become a series, but it did inspire this book, the K9 Annual 1983, which I was given for Christmas in 1982, even though I'd never watched K9 and Company and barely remembered the character from Doctor Who. So this was my sole source of K9 knowledge for many years, and it gives a glimpse into an alternate universe where K9 and Sarah Jane had many more adventures together. Sadly, my younger self scribbled all over it, so it's not exactly mint condition. The first few pages introduce K9 and Sarah Jane, providing useful background for those who hadn't seen the show, like myself. And then it's on to the first of 6 text stories, Power Stone. There are no comic strip style stories, unlike the Doctor Who annuals of the time. Power Stone follows straight on from K9 and Company, with Sarah, Brendan and Aunt Lavinia finding a dead body in the basement. Sarah's car is run off the road by 3 robed cult members after the mysterious Power Stone, and Sarah thinks they're going to look for it in her aunt's basement. But when they get there, the police have already caught the culprit, which is a bit of an anticlimax. And K9 does absolutely nothing to help the entire story. Next, there's a spoof test page, designed to get kids to read instructions before they follow them. The first instruction is read everything before you do anything. And the final one is, now that you've finished reading carefully, obey instructions 1 and 2 only. Presumably the intention is to catch out those kids who omitted step 1. The shape of TV to come tells you all about the exciting future of cable and satellite television. It says TV channels will probably specialise much more in the future. Some may concentrate on showing full-length feature films. Others will specialise in minority interest programmes, while others will be 24-hour news stations. In Britain, the Open University may use one of the channels, while another might transmit live from Parliament. Well, they were spot on there. It also predicts things like emails and online shopping, although it suggests they would all be done through the television. Professor Rubiks' Cube is a 2-page advert for the Rubiks Cube. I'm not sure how the BBC allowed that to happen. And there's an interesting picture of schoolboy David Milburn, who cracked the code in 54 seconds. And he looks about 54 years old. The Shroud of Azeroth has Sarah investigating accidents on a film set with the director George Spielberg, presumably Stephen's brother. The killer turns out to be the only other named character who's out to get revenge on yet another evil cult. K9 does actually save the day this time, but the entire house ends up burning down anyway. Talking of technology, looks at the possibilities for space travel, as well as alien life, and for some reason nuclear fusion. Hound of Hell sees Sarah Jane and Brendan investigating yet another evil cult. This time they are specifically named as Satanists. There's lots of action, and a cliffhanger ending where K9 has lost his memory and Sarah Jane is about to be sacrificed. To Satan, don't forget. She falls unconscious and wakes up to find that K9 has saved the day while she was asleep, which is again a bit of an anticlimax. K9's quiz is a bunch of extremely obscure questions about astronomy. What is the secret of the standing stones? Investigates the mysteries of Stonehenge. How did primitive man manage such incredible feats of engineering, and why? How did the impetus to continue building keep the work going for 1,000 years? And because the evidence suggests that Stonehenge was never finished, why did they not complete their task? Questions that still remain to this very day. The monster of Loch Crag is a nice change of pace from all those evil cults. Sarah's friend goes missing near a Scottish loch, and she investigates a smuggling ring disguised as a lake monster. There's some nice mentions of the Doctor and the TARDIS, which are absent from the other stories. But again, the ending is very abrupt, just skipping past all of the action. Then we have a feature called Myth or Monster, talking about the various sightings of the Loch Ness Monster over the years. And there's a page about UFOs, suggesting chemoluminescence might be an explanation. Looking on Wikipedia, that's how they make glow sticks. So maybe not. There's a feature on historical robots, from Talos of Crete to C-3PO, which is quite interesting. In Horror Hotel, Sarah Jane's car breaks down in the middle of nowhere, and she has to stay at the nearest hotel, which just happens to be the home of yet another satanic coven. who are plotting to turn a young woman into their high priest. Sarah Jane is nearly sacrificed again, but of course K9 saves the day again. The final story is the Curse of Kanbo Allah. Sarah, Brendan and Aunt Lavinia are on a sleeper train to London. I'm not sure where from, but it must be quite a distance. Sarah's uncle, Africana Smith, has died. It's not clear whether he was Aunt Lavinia's brother or husband, or possibly both, who knows. And an Indian voodoo sect are after the idol that he stole from them, which seems fair enough to me. There's plenty of action, but all the racist stereotyping makes it seem very dated. Finally, at the back, there's 2 pages of ghost stories. So it's a bit of a mixed bag overall. Obviously, the writer or writers assumed the whole series would follow on from the pilot, with K9 and Sarah Jane investigating evil, devil-worshipping cults or other seemingly supernatural activity every single week, with K9 studying everybody at the end to save the day. It would have been a bit limited and probably wouldn't have lasted more than 1 season, but still I wouldn't have minded seeing some of these play out in live action. The backup features are all rather good, some of them similar to what you'd get in Doctor Who annuals, but also some interesting introductions to unexplained phenomena, which may have well inspired me to take a lifelong interest in such matters. I still read 14 times, so maybe this book is what got me started. Along similar lines, I have tracked down the next couple of Doctor Who annuals, so I'll be reading these later in the year, once I've covered all of the stories that were broadcast before the annuals in question were published. So subscribe to see what I make of these, and I'll see you next time.